pole dance. Welcome everybody, how are we doing tonight? This is one of my favorite shows that I have the pleasure of doing every single year. Make some noise if this is your first time. Make some noise if you've been here more than 3 times. Make some noise if you've been here over 5 times. Alright, because tonight we are all about celebrating. We have a lot to celebrate. We're celebrating 40 years of VSA arts across the country. We're celebrating 35 years of VSA arts in Montana. And we are celebrating for the entire year, 25 years since the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And all throughout tonight, you're going to hear, through music and dance and song, the story of Americans with Disabilities and the civil rights movement that we have been a part of and that we continue to this day. I, unfortunately, am new to the ADA. It was only in the last 12 years I knew what the ADA was. And the ADA is what gives me civil rights as an American with a disability. I graduated high school not knowing what this act was. Had you asked me when I was a junior or a senior in high school, Michael, what is the ADA? I always said, the American Dental Association. But tonight is about raising awareness and celebrating it and recognizing that we're not done. We're not done fighting for civil rights. We're not done fighting for civil rights for people with disabilities or anyone else. Because there's an all or nothing proposition. We can't have civil rights if one person in this country is being oppressed for whatever reason that is. So we have a lot of work to do, but we've accomplished a lot at the same time. And the arts have a huge role to play in that, especially going forward. So, before we get tonight started, in the theme of civil rights, I want to teach you guys a chant. Some of you may know it, some of them might be new to you. But I'm going to say to you, what do you want? And your response is going to be art. And I'm going to say, when do you want? And your response is going to be now. Now, when you respond, I want you to sign it. I want you to speak it. I want you to let us know what you feel. But do it in a way that is assertive, but not too loud. Alright? We're not trying to make anybody pee their pants. Or lose the deposit on the building. But let's do it in a respectful manner so everybody can participate, but not be freaked out by it, alright? Alright, we're going to try this again. I'm going to say what do you want, you're going to say art. I'm going to say when do you want it, you're going to say now. Are you ready? You want some stretching? Okay, alright. What do we want? Art! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Art! When do we want it? Now! It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you guys a troupe, a sign troupe from CS Porter. As a school board member, I'm not supposed to have favorite schools, but this one's close. Please give me a hand in welcoming the sign troupe from CS Porter, everybody.
been down this road before. I'll never quit. I'll never lay down. See, I promised myself that I'd never let me down. So I'll never give up, never give in, never let her in, down slipping. And if I fall, I'll never fade. I'll just get up and try again. Never lose hope, never lose faith. There's much too much at stake. Upon myself I must depend. I'm not looking for place to show I'm gonna win. No stopping now. There's still a ways to go. Oh, some way, somehow. Whatever it takes, I know I'll never quit. No, no. I'll never go down. I'll make sure they remember my name 100 years from now. I'll never give up, never give in, never let her in, down slipping. And if I fall, I'll never fail. Just get up and try again. I'll never lose hope, never lose faith. There's much too much at stake. Upon myself I must depend. I'm not looking for place to show I'm gonna win. When it's all said and done, my once in a lifetime won't be back again. Now it's the time to take a stand. Here is my chance. That's why I'll never give up, never give in, never let her lay down sleeping. And if I fall, I'll never fade. I'll just get up and try again. Never lose hope, never lose faith. There's much too much at stake. Upon myself I must depend. I'm not looking for place to show.
Thank you so much. I'm Marie, also known as Mrs. Creighton, and I've brought some of my very favorite people to introduce to you. I have Logan, Dave, Lawrence, and Christy with me tonight.
All right, keep it going for those guys. Brian McKnight. I need to thank Brian McKnight. He got me through a lot of middle school dances. I was kind of a wallflower, but when Brian McKnight, our voice of man, came on, I was like, I'm getting a dance. I do want to say, so IDEA, we're celebrating civil rights, and a big part of that is the Americans with Disabilities Act. But one for students, the ones at CS Porter, when I attended school, any young young person that attended public school has the IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 10. And that evolved from Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. Now, why am I talking about a lot of legislation? Because these are the battles that we fought and won. And to get Section 504 passed, this is one of my favorite stories ever. It was signed in 1973. It was passed in 1973. It was not signed into law until 1977. And that is only because young people with disabilities said, "What's taking you so long? This is my civil rights you're messing around with." So, they did what they saw going on around them. They solicited the African American women's suffrage movement. And they said, "Teach us to get our message out there." So with the help of the Black Panthers and their own vision, young people, old people, parents, teachers, people that support with disabilities, took over federal buildings across this country and said, "We're not giving these buildings back until you sign our law." The one in San Francisco lasted for 28 days. One of the longest takeovers of any federal building by any group was people with disabilities. You know why we could do this? Because we had code talkers. After about 4 days, I'm not gonna lie to you, when we showed up in our wheelchairs and our canes and our care attendants, the people that owned that building actually thought it was kind of cute. They had cookies waiting for us. After day 4, they said, "No, seriously. Yeah, reports to file, can you give it back to us?" And we said, "No." So they started doing things to kick us out. They shut off the power. They shut off the water. They said, "All right, if you're in there, you can't come out and go back in. We're going to limit the supplies that can get into you, so you would eventually have to give our building back." But before every step they took to kick us out, we knew what was going to happen. And we were prepared for it. They said, "Hey, they're shutting off the power. Go do this. They're shutting off the phones. How are we going to communicate?" You know how we were communicating? Sign language. We had people signing out of the windows and from the rooftops into people in the crowd saying, "We need blankets. We need food." And that's how we were able to keep this protest going. It was because we had our own code talker. And that's one of many stories that I like to point out and saying this is what our culture is. And it is us coming together as people with disabilities. Not as people with this disability or that disability, or young people with disabilities or old people with disabilities. It's everyone coming together. I recently spoke at a conference for young people in Idaho, and the theme of my talk, and I want to focus on this tonight, and I want you to take it out and use it in the rest of your life, and really start applying it where you've never applied it before. And that is the term, you all heard it, level of function. Why is this only a term that applies to us? I'm in schools every single day. I'm on the school board. I had IEPs growing up, and it was all about, well, Mike has a very high level of function in this. Mike has a very low level of function in this. That was usually maturity. And I hear students, and they say, well, these students are very low functioning. These are moderately functioning. Why is it that we never talk about a teacher's level of function, an administrator's level of function, a representative's level of function, a society's level of function? That's the narrative we gotta get out there. So when you go out tonight, and you hear the history, and you hear the story, say, whose level of function needed to be higher at that moment? Okay, and I remember I don't remember when I was 5 years old, but my mother tells me this story all the time. She says, Michael, when you turned 5 years old, we wanted to do exactly what we did with your older sisters, which is get rid of you for half a day. But they knew, my mother was an educator for 40 years in Title I. She knew there were some barriers that I would face, some assistance that I would need. So we walked into an administrator's office that summer before my kindergarten year, and to say, you know, can we set Michael up with some accommodations? We walked in that office, and she tells me this story, and he took one look at me, my arm, and my parents, and said, no. This is 1987. This is way after 504. They said students with disabilities are allowed in public education. In 1987, he said, no, he doesn't belong here. He belongs in a school for people like him, or you just need to keep him at home. What was his level of function? And my mother always told me this story. She never ended it with her getting upset or angry. And I always wondered why. I'd be a little pissed. I have since found out, though, that my mother is a quarter Jedi. So she doesn't have to get upset. She just looked at this man and said, Michael is going to your school. And he looked back and said, Michael is coming to my school. So it took advocacy just to get me into public school by my parents. And the reason that they were able to do that is because people that I never met and didn't know about fought, died, and took over a building. And I think that's fantastic. One of my other favorite stories, two guys in Portland, Oregon, 1970. One is Art, had cerebral palsy. The other one is Richard. He had a hearing loss from Vietnam. They were best friends. And the CP affected Art. He couldn't stand up. You know, his speech was really hard to understand. And one day, Richard shows up at Art's house and says, I want pancakes. Let's go to a new spot to get pancakes. Now, they went to the spot, they sat down, and the waitress said, I'm going to have to ask you guys to leave. And they ended up getting arrested, because they wouldn't leave, because they wanted pancakes. Art said, no, like, this is America. I give you money, you give me pancakes. I'm pretty sure it's in the Constitution. If it's not, could we start worrying on that? And they got arrested because in Portland, Oregon, and every other state at that time existed an ugly law. Which meant if you look or act differently, you could be thrown in jail for simply being out in public. One of the best parts of this story, Art and Richard got hauled off to jail. Guess what they were serving for breakfast? Pancakes. So Art and Richard sat down and ate their cold prison pancakes and said, this is a good idea. Then over 3 years, they went out and tried to get arrested. And they got arrested over 20 times. Some people just let them eat. They're like, are you sure you want to arrest them? But it made the paper, it made news. And within 5 years of Oregon being embarrassed by Art and Richard in the media, no country in the U.S. had an ugly law on its books anymore. Because 2 dudes wanted pancakes. The last thing, and we are. Tonight is about celebrating where we have been, what we've accomplished, but also looking forward. So for VSA, we've been around in Montana for 35 years. We've done a lot of things around the state, impacted a lot of different lives under the leadership of board members, former directors Elaine Dawson, who is delightfully retired at this moment. I asked her the other day, can you come down to the office for a meeting? And she said, I don't do meetings anymore. He says, I'll do coffee. We're not going to do meetings. But we are looking forward. We are lucky to have a brand new executive director. Please give a hand for Corey DiBiase, our brand new director of VSA. into the next 35 years of the arts impacting not just our community as people with disabilities, but the entire community of Montana. And that's going to ripple out to the nation. So that's an amazing thing. We are getting better. I see little differences every day. I was in Albertsons the other day, and I had a head of lettuce. I was in the produce department. I had a head of lettuce under this arm, and I was reading the nutrition facts on dressing with my left hand, because I'm 33 and I do that now. Clearly, I don't think I was struggling at all to do either one of these things. But this woman, my mother's age, walks up to me. And we're not going to say what my mother's age, because she's pretty sure she knows people here, and I'll tell her. But she got really close, so she busted my bubble. And she said, "Do you need assistance?" Now this happens 2 to 3 times a week. Just in the general population. My response has become, "No, thank you, I'm fine." This does 2 things. One, it makes them feel really good for having offered. It makes me feel really good because they need. But this woman was a trooper. She hung in there for a while until she repeated her original hypothesis. "Do you need assistance?" Now, as comfortable as I am in front of all of you guys, in front of crowds of people I don't know, one-on-one, very awkward. And having my first attempt fail, I froze. And my fight or flight said, "Run." And I was so nervous and I was so awkward that when I turned to run away, I dropped the dressing. And as I ran away, I heard 2 things: the bottle break, and this woman yelled, "I knew you needed assistance." But upon going to the coffee shop at the book exchange, because coffee is like a binky to me, I go in there and I'm standing in line, and I'm behind a mother with 2 little boys. They're about 5 years old. And these little boys, upon seeing my hand, turn into ninjas. They duck behind tables, they hide behind their mom's leg, and they're like, "Oh, we've never seen one like that before." And generally, the response by any parent is what? "Don't stand." And they turn their kid around, really good, "Don't stand." Morbid fact, a couple of spinal cord injuries have happened because parents turning their kids' head too quickly. Because it's not polite to stare. But this mother did something I'd never seen before. And this action by this mother is the work of the arts, is the work of the advocacy, is the work of every civil rights movement that has come before us. She took those kids, she patted them on the back and pushed them closer to me and said, "Sir, can they ask you a question?" I said, and they looked up and they said, "What's wrong with your hand?" And I gave them the 5-year-old response, which is, "I didn't eat my vegetables." You know, the mother would have loved that. She would have loved that. But I know, I said I was born this way. And I gave them, and you can see the ears in their head. And the one, I'll never forget this, he was standing right here. He took my little hand in his little hand. And he said, "Have you ever seen E.T.? Her hand looks like E.T.'s hand." We're friends on Facebook. We talk about aliens for 10 minutes. And that's the kind of social progress and things that we are making that are impacting that next generation. And we have lots of work to do. But it is my pleasure, before I introduce these guys, what do we want? What do we want? All right. Please give a warm welcome to Malcolm and the VSA Choir.
Jim must be over here.
Come All right, thank you all for coming tonight. This was an interesting show for me to put together, and that it's not as fun as Pirates or Muppets. But it was really interesting for me to move forward on this because it is about us. This, more than any other show that we've done, is about us and our feelings. And it's been really interesting to change songs and put them into focus and to think about our journey as a country and you know what's left to be done. So I hope you enjoy. I'm going to be explaining each song a little bit more because it's kind of like, how does this song fit in? But as we went through this process, I work with adults. What is my role as a teacher? What is my role as simply an artistic director? But as we were talking about some of the songs, Katie piped up and said, Malcolm, am I a citizen? And I realized, okay, that's why we're doing this. It's important. Some of you may recognize Adele's last name, Cobell, as her great aunt was a huge advocate for Native American rights. So the Americans with Disability Act was asking for really the bare necessities. Corey and I had lunch with Elaine early in the season to kind of talk about how this show would go. And he told me a story about early in the disabilities civil rights movement where there was sort of the Million Man March, only it was in wheelchairs. And there was hundreds of people in wheelchairs going down the middle of the street blocking traffic. And the point was that there are no sidewalks. You know, we would really like some sidewalks. So this song, I chose this song as a result of that conversation, and George here is going to help us out. This song, I would like to thank the voters of Missoula for voting to increase our bus service. The frequency, the hours that they run, and you know, this really came home to me yesterday as I left our dress rehearsal on a Saturday at 4:30, and Cheyenne is on her own waiting for a bus to take her home. She was able to come and go independently to an endeavor of her own choosing that expressed herself in the arts, and I was like, right on, the buses are running. All right, this next song, I've been wanting to do this for years, but it's a really hard song. So I rewrote it.
Don't call me baby when I get on the bus.
Don't my hair, don't get like that.
She's like everyone else. Yeah, like everyone else. I ain't asking for a pet education.
I just want education.
All I'm asking is to have the chance to get a job. Gotta get a job.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome former CEO of Opportunity Resources and champion of this community for many, many years, Jan Chambers.
You haven't forgotten me yet?
No.
That was, what are you doing in retirement? How do you like it? Well, it was worrisome for a while because I thought I was forgotten.
I haven't forgotten you, Jack.
And all I did is have to show up to a picnic and that was all solved. Malcolm and Elaine came to me a while ago and said they'd like me to say a few words, and I think I only have 45 minutes to an hour or so. I'll ramble a little bit, but I've seen a lot in my life, in my professional life, over 40 years, and working with people, and it's changed a lot. There's been some great changes that I'm proud to be part of. There were some changes that were struggles, but it's come a long ways. When I think about when I first got involved with people with disabilities, and there was an organization called the ARC, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the ARC, the Association, and then the R word, Citizens. And we've come from that to now a movement. Have you ever seen the new t-shirts, get rid of the R word? You know, we've come from that. It was part of the a grassroots organization of primarily parents and families and people with disabilities. And now the only part that's left in my mind is the word citizen, and that's good. And we keep making great strides. I remember back in when I started in this business, I taught a high school class, and they closed down a country school where everybody went that had disability. They went to a country school, and they closed it down and moved everybody in. Integration, it was called, and it was in the state I was in, Oregon. It was only the third one of its kind, I think, in the state, and it was so interesting that they gave me that first year. My classroom was a stage, actually about this size, and I had a few more steps than that to go up to get to the stage every day. And I had a young gentleman in a wheelchair, up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs, and many trips every single day. And so you try to go shake some administrators' heads and say, you know, hey, there's something wrong with this picture, isn't there? And so you get a different classroom. I remember the end of that first year, and that particular gentleman in a wheelchair was 21. And I went to the administration and said, you know, Dennis is 21 and he's graduating this year. And they said, well, isn't that wonderful? We should have a ceremony. And I looked at him and I said, you have a ceremony. Oh, well, it was too much. It was too much at the time. It didn't happen. And we did our ceremony, but we tried to raise some hell out of it too then. And that did change. But those were some of the ideas and just the attitude about people. And I had a hard time understanding that. And I was at Opportunity Resources here almost 30 years, 28 years or so, and I remember when we moved into that building on Russell Street, and we'd done a big remodel and everything, and the TV cameras came and they shoved one of these in my face and said, God, you've done this, now you're in this place. What's your next big goal? And the first thing that came to my mind was, we need to move out of here. And it got a real quiet response, just like you did from the news person. What does that mean? Well, our movement, ADA, is not about opportunity resources. It's not about people like me that were in the business. It's about people's rights and the right to live a life and choose their own place to live, their jobs and health. And that's what, early on it was all about jobs and a place to live. And then things like VSA came along and this player. And if you've been to Opportunity lately, just the art department and all the things. And some of these folks are artists in there, right? Aren't you?
Yes.
Anyway, and it's those kind of things that make life what it should be. And I felt always proud to be part of that. We still had a long way to go, and I know that I think the biggest memory that I have about my whole career was people like you, and it's parents, it's family, it's extended family of all these folks that make a difference in their lives and will be and continue to make a difference long after folks like I have gone down the road. So I want to applaud all of you, and I want to applaud all of my best friends in the world.
And at that same lunch, Jack had the audacity to say, you know, I guess I never really thought of it as working in civil rights. 30 years. So we're going to sing a couple songs about work and just how freeing it is to have a job and have a purpose and to have your own money. So the next couple songs, we're talking about the sometimes difficult relationship, and certainly those of you in the audience that are caregivers understand that how much giving there is, how much give and take there is, and how difficult it is to be both a caregiver and a teacher, and to allow the independence that is desired. So here's a couple songs about that.
So this next song, there's so many things that a caregiver is asked to do. And it is, as I said, often a very difficult balance to have that independence for the caregiver and for the caregiver to do their job well. I remember one night at rehearsal, I heard Dick arguing with someone that had brought him about something, I'm not sure what it was. But he said, "You're not the boss of me." And it's true. And it's a difficult balance to have and to come up with, but that's where this song came from.
I'm stuck in the middle with a disability. I need your help, but I need. It may be true I depend on you, but I don't have to do every little thing you tell me to.
About VSA. Gene Kennedy Smith started VSA long before ADA came into reality, not that it wasn't being talked about, but as is often the case, it's the artists that lead the charge. So 40 years ago, VSA came into existence through the Kennedy Center, through Gene Kennedy Smith, and her vision for what the arts could mean to the disabled community. So there's so much that we have to say, and we're saying a bunch of it now, but there's one that's not on your program that I put together this little mixtape, and Heidi said, oh yeah, oh, we gotta do that. So here we go, we're gonna do it.
Hey, I'm gonna take just a second to thank the band. Thank you also to Linda Stratton for being our rehearsal accompanist as well as an amazing pianist. The amazing wizard in the back, Amelia Rose, who has done wonders with the lights and sound with absolutely no rehearsal.
So this next song needs a little explanation. First of all, it's Tom Waits. I love Tom Waits. Tom Waits is a very important artist in the sort of darker side of artistic expression. But also, I want to just explain that my interpretation of this is it's a metaphor that Gene Kennedy Smith's vision for equality and for the arts may be being lost in our government and in their anxiety to do business. So that's what it means to me, and I hope it doesn't offend anyone, but we love it.
All right, and now a more hopeful song. This is a song from a Disney show called The Hunchback of Notre Dame, kind of a lesser-known show of theirs. But Alan Menken wrote this absolutely gorgeous song. The only problem was it was written in the late 90s. So the treatment was rather pop and not so good. But it's a beautiful song, and we hope you enjoy the sentiment. Now I'd like to invite Corey DiBiase to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful show. As the executive director of VSA Montana, it is my job to interrupt this beautiful work, this art, this music, this joy, to talk about fundraising. As most of you notice outside, we're staging one of our largest annual fundraisers, which is our silent auction. I hope that you'll hang around. We're going to keep it open for at least a half an hour after the show. I hope that you'll hang around with us, bid on some items, also enjoy some hors d'oeuvres, some wine, and spend a little time. And if I haven't met you yet, I hope you'll come up to me, introduce yourself. I'd like to meet every one of you tonight, if that's at all possible, to meet the folks who have supported this organization through its life. As you can imagine, there are any number of people, there are countless people whose effort and time and talent went into making this event such a success. However, I'm only going to thank one of those people tonight. For more than 20 years, Elaine Golson VSA Montana, to our state, and to our citizens. She has worked to bring the power of art and the promise of inclusion to our cities, to our towns, and to our citizens. She has worked to open for everyone the doors of our museums and our classrooms. And I also know that she really can't stand to be made the subject of these kinds of public displays, so I'll keep this very brief. Please join me now in thanking Elaine. I also hope that you'll join me in continuing to ensure that VSA thrives in the next 20, 30, and 40 years. I want to thank all of you for coming here tonight. It's an honor to spend this evening with you when we can remember the leaders who came before us, who brought important things like the ABA and VSA to life, who achieved these things with their work, with their dedication, and with their beliefs. The belief that disability rights are civil rights. The belief that inclusion is not a benefit for the few, but it is a privilege for the many. The belief that there can never be too many voices raised in song. Thank you all for coming.
And just these last couple songs to finish up as we look to the future and we think about our role as citizens in our country. And I just want to thank Corey for taking the reins. Very huge shoes to fill, but as in any country and any endeavor, the torch has to be passed, and I have every confidence and have really enjoyed working with Corey, and want to thank him for his involvement and heartfelt input into tonight's endeavors.
opportunity to go up